Today's video is something I'm so excited about. It's my first gory Halloween makeup tutorial, and this has been so highly requested. It's how to do like cuts or scratches on your face. I've wanted to do this for like weeks now, but I've been at school, and honestly it's so hard to find the time to just sit down and like play with fake blood. Just to be honest, like if I do my makeup, I have to do it to go somewhere. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to go ahead and get into this, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to try to do a talk through with this, and hopefully this works out well, because I know when I do a talk through it takes a little bit longer, but I feel like that's kind of necessary to explain what I'm doing. So the first thing that you're going to need is tissues, and I've already separated mine. This is just one ply. Like you need to pull them apart where they're 2-ply tissues. This is just one ply. That's the first thing that you're going to need, and you need to go ahead and rip it up into 3 kind of like long skinny strips. So I'm going to go ahead and rip mine. Okay, now this is what you should have. 3 strips. You could do 4, however many you want to do, but I'm going to do 3 today just to keep it a little more simple. Okay, so now that you have those strips, just go ahead and lay those to the side. And what I always use, you can use liquid latex, you can use anything like that, but something that's easy to find and you might already have is just like Elmer's glue. I have the clear one. You can use white because it dries clear, but I just went ahead and got the clear one when I was shopping for my Halloween makeup. Super inexpensive, and you get a lot more for your money than you do with like a liquid latex. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to use a makeup brush just so I don't get it on my hands. I'm just using like this sponge thing, but you could just use your fingers or a paintbrush, whatever you have around. I want to take a pretty generous amount of that, as you can see, and I'm going to lay that down wherever I want to put the scars. So I'm just kind of going to do mine coming like this across my face. So I'm going to put the glue like that. So after you have that, you kind of want to work fast so that it doesn't dry. I'm going to take one of these strips, and I kind of just rip them to the length that I want. And I'll do like staggering like lengths. I don't want them all to be the same. And then I'm just going to roll that up. And then I'm just going to place that. So after I've done that, I'm going to move on to another one, and you want to do these at staggered, like different lengths, just so that, like I said, it doesn't look perfect and it makes it look a little more realistic. So I'm taking a shorter one, rolling that up, and these don't have to be on here just perfectly yet because we're going to go over them with another coat. So I'm going to do one more line, and I'm just going to take a pretty short piece. About like this. Okay, now that you have all 3 of those on there, I recommend going over it with another coat of the glue, and I'm just doing the exact same thing. Like I said, you could take a paintbrush or whatever you have that you don't care to ruin, but I'm just gonna go right over that and paint it with another coat of the glue, just so that it's really stuck to the face and it's not going to come off if you're like actually wearing this somewhere. Okay, so after all those are coated in another coat of glue, you want to let that dry before you go on to the next step. So I'm going to let this dry and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just had some technical difficulties and I had to start filming again, so I hope it's like zoomed in at the same place. But basically I just let this dry, and it is dry, so I'm going to go in with something that's skin colored. You can use foundation or concealer. I'm going to be using the Hard Candy Glamouflage, and this is in the light shade. It just matches my skin pretty good. So I want to take it just on my finger, and I'm just going to cover this. I'm actually going to go in with a brush with this just to get in all the little areas, because you want to just kind of stipple this on like this in a patting motion instead of rubbing. So just kind of trying to cover that and make it look like it's actually part of your skin. Okay, so after that's covered in concealer, I'm going to take a little bit of a powder. This is just an e.l.f. one. You can use any kind of face powder that you want. And I'm just going to dab over that to take away the shine and kind of make it look, again, more like skin. So I'm just swirling my brush in this. Okay, so now that all that's set, you want to go in with something to like pull apart these a little bit. So something pointy. I like using tweezers. You can also use a toothpick. I think that works really well. But basically what you're going to do is take the really pointy edge of this and kind of cut a line all the way down the center of each scar. Okay, so now that I've got like a cut in each of those, I'm going to go in with some red Halloween face paint, and this is just a cream makeup that you can get at like Walmart. And I'm going to take a brush that's kind of thinner. This is a lip brush. You could use any kind of small brush, and I want to place that red right into that cut that we just made. So I'm just dipping mine like directly in here to this container, and I'm just going to put that right in the crack of that. And you want to do this in a messy way just because it's supposed to be a cut. It's not going to be perfect. Okay, now that you have the red face paint on, I'm going to go in with the black eyeliner. This is just like any kind of drugstore eyeliner. You could use a black face paint. I just don't have one, so I'm going to go with the eyeliner. And I'm just going to kind of go around the edges of that red just to darken it up and make it look a little bit more realistic, because blood is not this bright red. So I'm just going to go right around the edges of that. Okay, now that you've got your black on there, it's time for the fake blood. I'm just using this vampire blood that I got at Walmart. These are like 97 cents a piece, and these work really good because they're like a gel. I just take like a paper plate and I'm just going to put some of this on it, and I'm going to use a Q-tip to just apply that into the wounds. So I'm going to take about that much, and I'm just going to put this on the wounds. Okay, so after I have the blood on like all of the scabs, take a little bit more and just kind of dab it around down here. So I'm just taking that blood and kind of stippling it right here so that like all of the scratches kind of meet down here at the bottom. The thing with gory makeup is that it doesn't have to be perfect. That's kind of like the beauty of it, because obviously a scab is not going to be like just perfect looking. So you can kind of just play around and put the blood wherever you think it looks good. Like you can see, I'm just kind of dotting it on here. I'm not really doing anything precise. You can also just rub it like. Okay, so now that you've got that blood on there, I'm going to go in with a little bit of eyeshadow. This is kind of optional, but I do think it looks a little bit more realistic. I'm just using an 88 color palette from BH Cosmetics. The basic colors that I'm going to be using are brown, black, and like a maroon color. So I'm just going to take some darker colors up here. And I'm going to be using this on a brush that is a little bit older and not one of my good brushes. And I'm just going to go into those colors, and I'm just mixing like some darker colors, you can see there. And I want to just dab that right around here, just because blood is a little bit darker. It's not as bright red as like fake blood, and you want this to look kind of dried. So I'm just like, once again, just kind of placing this on here. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. And then something else I think you can do to make it look a little more realistic is I'm just going to use my finger and I'm going to go into a like reddish color. And I'm just going to kind of put that on the skin around this so that it looks like it's like swollen or infected. So I'm just like taking that red eyeshadow and I'm just going to kind of blend it with my finger. I don't want to do too much. So you can see that makes it look a lot more like swollen and irritated, and it kind of just looks more realistic, I think. So after that, you're basically done with the actual wound. Like, this is how I would leave it. Something that you can also do is take some blood and kind of like splatter it around the rest of your face. I kind of like the look of like my makeup looking nice on this side and it just being like gory on this side. But something that I do want to do is go back in and add a little bit of blood like dripping down right here. So I'm just taking that same Q-tip and kind of putting enough on there where it will drip. So I put a pretty good amount on there and I'm just going to let it drip down my neck a little bit. And that's it. So that's it for this Halloween makeup tutorial. If you guys enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up and leave in the comments down below what other kind of Halloween tutorials you want to see this year. Thank you guys so much for watching and I hope I see you next time. Bye.